Watching the fallout of Joe Biden's atrocious performance last Thursday's debate, it's been very interesting. It's something that I noted in the recap video on Friday. Depending on how the media and the Democratic Party handle Joe Biden over this weekend, it's going to tell you what they're going to be doing moving forward. And now that we have this new information that dropped Monday afternoon in regards to Trump and the way that the media is going to start spinning that, okay, it's exactly what I laid out. Either they're going to be going hard on Joe Biden, or this is going to be a full frontal attack on Trump, where they're just going to go ahead, continue to bang their head against the wall using the same tactics that didn't work in 2016, that didn't work in 2020, but they're going to think, aha, third time's the charm, and we'll really be able to convince everybody that the orange man is as bad as we have been telling you over these past 8 years, and now you're finally going to admit it. Just don't mind the corpse that is shambling over there in the corner. He's totally fine. So yeah, they're going to go with not the path of least resistance, but of most resistance, because the Democrat Party, I'm not entirely sure what they're on about right now. The only people that are kind of floating the replacement theory, well, one of their great replacement theories, are the right-wing sources. Okay, New York Post floating the idea that, you know what, Gretchen Whitmer, you've seen a couple of things with Patrick Bateman, Gavin Newsom out there in California. What about Kamala? No. They're just all going in. The mass media in general, they're all going in on this new Supreme Court ruling that Trump is basking in the glory of. Okay, so much so that he's looking, instead of just having an expedited appeal in the New York case, to just simply have it thrown out on the basis of another ruling going in his favor. It's a bit of a different ruling, but I want to get this one out of the way because sentencing is going to be coming up next week. I think it's on the 11th, right? July 11th. And there's rumors out there that Mercan's looking for a multi-year sentence for Trump, but logistically, how's that ultimately going to end up working? Because you can't throw him in Gen Pop. You have the security concerns. Obviously, how are you going to accommodate Secret Service with the president? Because even though there were Democrats pushing the bill to strip Secret Service protection from any former president that had been convicted of a felony, that never went anywhere. So that's going to be an entire clown show, but we'll deal with that eventually at a later date. But as we sit right now, Trump asked Manhattan hush money judge to throw a guilty verdict after Supreme Court's immunity ruling. Let's go through this first before we get into the immunity ruling. Okay. Former President Donald Trump on Monday asked Manhattan judge in his hush money case to throw out his guilty verdict in wake of the Supreme Court granted him absolute immunity for official acts committed as president. As you can see, and if you know even just a little bit about this hush money case, which is falsification of business documents, okay, it's normally a misdemeanor, but Fat Alvin Bragg wanted to go ahead and elevate it to a point where he could go ahead and compare and appease his constituents, because that fat bastard ran on the idea that he was going to persecute Trump. Anyways, now the request came in a letter to Judge Juan Mercan sent by the 78-year-old former president's lawyers, which asked the jurist for permission to file a motion to postpone Trump's July 11th sentencing and dismiss the case. And the Trump's legal team is required to notify Mercan in writing before any motions related to the case can be filed. The letter is expected to be made public on Tuesday. So yeah, maybe by the time that you guys see this or a little bit later in the day, we'll have the letter out, but probably wait until, the judge looks at it and goes, no, that's fine. And then it eventually gets booted up to an appeal. And it's going to be another three-ring circus here. Okay, after which, yes, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office will be given a chance to respond. Well, yeah, because they know that they're eventually going to lose on appeal, because that was, outside of Alex Jones, one of the most atrocious and unconstitutional trials that you are likely to ever see. The request, first reported by the New York Times, came 10 days before Trump is expected to be sentenced to a case where he's convicted of the 34 felony counts of falsifying business records during his 2016 presidential campaign in effort to keep an alleged, encounter with Stormy Daniels that Biden was so willing to attempt to bring up on the debate stage. I don't know how well he did it. Then again, Biden doesn't even know how well he did it. But as you can see from just a little, news boxes that's down there, obviously what's dominating the coverage. Okay, you can take a look at Twitter, Instagram, whatever your chosen social media app, and what's going to be trending right now. Biden's mental health? No. Supreme Court. Okay, that's what two of the boxes are on about. And then in the middle, you can see right there, the Dems, they're just going to go straight ahead with Joe, because because they know he's the empty suit, okay? He doesn't have to go in front of the media that often. Hell, take a look at everything that he's done even as president so far. There's very few speaking engagements that he has to entertain, and the ones that he does, they're so truncated that, yeah, even somebody who can't even list off the days of the week can go ahead and perform the actions that they require of him. All of the major meetings that are out there, okay, the photo ops, they'll just go ahead and push grandpa out and, you know, point him in the right direction, just lure him out with an ice cream cone on a stick, or send one of his proxies out there, send Antony Blinken, Kamala Harris, Lloyd Austin. Go ahead, you guys go out there and you guys go do the stuff. Don't worry about it. Joe's gonna, I don't know, the sun sets, so the next time that he has to make a State of the Union address, they'll have his meds on point so that the next day when he goes out on the campaign trail where he looks far more lively, they'll hit at the appropriate time. Don't worry about that. But yeah, Dems mull nominating Biden a month before the convention to squash replacement talk because they still think, the Democratic Party themselves, that he can be the perfect proxy for all of their most radical ideas. That's what he was back in 2020. That's what he's going to be in 2024. But I don't know, perhaps they see what everybody else does, that it's basically shaping up to be a full-on Trump victory, thinking that, you know what, maybe they could just try to muddle and muddy everything up for 4 years, weather the storm, and then put out somebody better. Because, okay, for as desolate as the Democrat bench looks, you take a look at the Republican side, and brother, it ain't much better. If we're being completely honest, it's Vivek and everybody else. Ron DeSantis burnt his political capital. You're not going to see that goof for a few election cycles, okay? Next time you'll probably see him on a, federal level ticket is when Rick Scott retires, okay? For him to just take a lifer position as a senator. Are we going to run back Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Tim Scott again? Yeah, no. Not super exciting at all. Anyways, that's not the point of this. The point of this is to take a look at this immunity ruling, okay, which everybody kind of seen coming anyways, and this basically, long story short, it puts an end to the Jack Smith investigations, the January 6th one, and the presidential records, which, oh boy, if you haven't been paying attention to all of the drama surrounding that investigation, how, yeah, I think it was, the FBI even came out and said, yeah, we kind of falsified some stuff in order to make it look like a much more appealing photo op. Yeah, we might have tampered with some evidence, but it's fine. It's great. But the orange man bad. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. How are you going to float that in front of a federal? Oh, right. All of these cases are going to be in front of a Democrat federal judge. Because it's taking place in federal court, there's not going to be open access to those trials. So yeah, we can try to get away with anything, but this kind of puts the kibosh in all of this. So Trump has immunity from prosecution for official acts, Supreme Court rules, and monumental decision for presidential powers. Okay, so what are we talking about? The President of the United States has immunity from prosecution for official acts in office. The Supreme Court ruled in the monumental decision with massive implication for presidential powers and criminal cases against Donald Trump. Well, it's really not that dissimilar to what happened with Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton had some tapes and the Supreme Court ended up coming out and saying, yeah, no, that's totally fine. It just would have been really interesting, and this would have put this decision on the books a long time ago, like if Richard Nixon would have stuck it out and all the Watergate hoopla worked its way up to SCOTUS, would have actually avoided the economic dicking that Jimmy Carter brought in, had that been the case. But yeah, that's another topic for another time. But anyways, the case centered on special counsel Jack Smith's prosecution, right? I keep wanting to say persecution because, well, that's what it is, of Trump for allegedly masterminding efforts to overthrow the 2020 election while in office, including on January 6th. The ex-president's team argued that Trump and any president, that's very important because this isn't just, hey, Trump's allowed to do whatever he wants. No. This has wide-ranging implications. Must have absolute immunity from prosecution over actions taken while in office, or it could impair important decision making. Well, yeah, of course, because, okay, just take it out of the context of Trump, okay? Like if a president number 50, whoever the 50th president is going to be, we have no idea, so that's a nice safe number, ends up having to make a very important country-defining decision. You don't want to have political opponents, okay, anything over your head in regards to the decisions that you're going to be making. Do you believe that you're doing the health and safety of the country? That's what this says right now. Anything that you do in the confines of being the president, if they're acts in good faith that are not superseded by any other articles, you're just willfully committing treason, accepting bribes, any of that kind of crap, high crimes and misdemeanors, that old impeachment clause gimmick, right? Anything that isn't explicitly covered by that, you're good to go on this. The ex-president, team impair, yes, decision-making. The 6-3 decision split along the court's ideological lines. Ideological? Well, okay, come on. You take a look at what Roberts does on a consistent basis, and I don't know, maybe you could just say that he's a conservative in so much as Ben Shapiro's a conservative. And have you seen a lot of decisions by Amy Coney Barrett? His stupid Brett Kavanaugh? Like, come on, man. Anyways, will not face another blockbuster trial before the November election, with the case sent back to the lower court to determine what is considered his official versus unofficial acts. The president enjoys no immunity for his unofficial acts, and not everything the president does is official. The president is not above the law. The justice led by, yes, that Chief John Roberts wrote in the majority. Yeah, that's fine. And anybody who has even just a little bit of legal understanding kind of came to this conclusion a long time ago. But under our system of separated powers, the president may not be prosecuted for exercising his core constitutional powers, and he is entitled to at least presumptive immunity from prosecution for his official acts. That immunity applies equally to all occupants of the Oval Office. There you go. Trump celebrated the decision, writing on Truth Social, "Big win, huge win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American." That's my song. I always come out onto stage with "Proud to be an American," because that's what I am, and I'm very proud. Roberts wrote the opinion that Trump is also at least presumptively immune from the allegations related to the pressure campaign on former Vice President Mike Pence regarding the certification of the 2020 vote. In addition, Trump is absolutely immune from alleged misconduct during discussions with the Justice Department. Oh no! And with those statements right there, it kind of sent some people into a bit of a tizzy, in so much that even old Uncle Joe decided to stumble out, because right now his current settings, well, he's all kind of geared up to be out there in the later hours of the day. So recently, at least at time of recording, spoiler, I'm recording this, it's kind of funny too, Monday evening, Canada Day proper, we're talking about U.S. politics, but if I was to just bitch and complain about Trudeau, I mean, nothing's going to end up happening. He's still going to be king of Canada for another couple of years because the NDP is spineless and crap anyways. It's much more important to talk about something that, can actually change in a timely fashion. Biden says voters deserve Trump. Yes, a January 6th trial before the election. Ignores questions about dropping out. Yeah, because he doesn't have to answer any of that stuff. The institution is now, or the administration, the deep state, whatever the hell you want to call it, they're all circling the wagons around Biden, trying to shield him from criticism and deflect everything onto Trump. You see what they're doing? This is what they're going to do, and it's only going to get even more insane as you lead up to the sentencing and we lead up to the conventions. There's going to be very little criticism unless Joe Biden completely shits his brain, which can't totally take off the table. It's all going to be on Trump because, he packed the Supreme Court. We need to do something about that. You're going to hear that spin up once again. AOC's calling for the impeachment of all 6 justices for simply interpreting the Constitution. But she's just a blowhard who's just trying to raise funds for her re-election campaign. Let's call that exactly what it is. For as much as she wants to be known as a radical, she has definitely comported herself well to be an institution in the swamp for a very long time. But what did Biden have to say about this? President Biden slammed the Supreme Court's decision Monday to grant former President Donald Trump absolute immunity from prosecution for official acts during his presidency, saying the voters deserve a speedier trial for his prospective election rival. Well, yeah, of course, because you can't beat him at the ballot box, so hell, if you can go ahead and throw him in a little steel box, you'll be a little bit more happy about that. He spoke at a red-carpeted cross hall for about 4 minutes. Yeah, this is a Joe Biden press conference now moving forward. No questions, 4 minutes, in, out, done, as few gaffes as possible. But he wasn't completely spotless. I know, 4 minutes and he couldn't even get through something. Reading closely from a pair of teleprompters before turning to leave as reporters peppered him with questions about his disastrous performance at Thursday's CNN debate against Trump. Yes. Mr. President, will you drop out of the race? A reporter shouted as Biden turned away from his lectern. Yeah, but let's hear what he actually had to say, right? The man who sent the mob to the Capitol is facing potential criminal conviction for what happened that day, and the American people deserve to have an answer in the courts before the upcoming election. The public has the right to know the answer about what happened on January 6th before they are asked to vote again this year. Now, because of today's decision, that is highly, highly unlikely. is a terrible disservice to the people of the nation. So now the American people have to do what the court should have been willing to do, but will not. The American people have to render a judgment about Donald Trump's behavior. The American people must decide whether Donald Trump's assault on our democracy on January 6th makes him unfit for public office, the highest office in the land. Repeat the line, highest office in the end of the land. But no. Instead of me doing a poor impression, and I'll let you guys, check in on this one. So maybe there was some validity to the fact that Joe was feeling under the weather on Thursday, because he sounds a lot better, in this 17-second clip, which is, strangely enough, a large portion of the press conference that he just held. But like I said, he wasn't completely without gaffes because, well, it's Joe Biden and it's 2024, and it's starting to look a lot more like we're all living in a simulation.
I concur with Justice Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law.
Oh, no.
With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote.
Oh, he did the thing again. He did the I read everything that's on the teleprompter. I'm almost thinking at this point, are they trying to set him up? Because why do they put end of quote? Repeat the line, Anything that is not specifically for him to read. Don't do any of that stuff. Add an ellipses or something like that. Something where he doesn't have to, because he's being coached and told, read exactly what's on the teleprompters. Don't go off script. The moment that you're up there, you start reading. The moment that the words stop appearing, you turn around and you shuffle back inside so that none of the mean, nasty people with the cameras can threaten you with any sort of questions or interaction. But no. I think they're also trying to hedge their bets. So it's like, you know what? Hey, man, maybe. Potentially, if we can't get any of this Trump stuff to stick, even after the convention, because the DNC can just simply go ahead and shed delegates off to somebody else, they can still hold out for some crazy stuff. But for as much as the DNC aren't really, at least publicly, panicking, they're just, once again, circling the wagons around Biden, I can't really say the same. The other deep state hacks that are out there. You got Aaron Rupar. So if Joe Biden declared today that November's election is canceled and ordered the military to keep him in power, would that be an official act? So these are the most uncharitable interpretations of the Supreme Court ruling. Dash Dobrovsky, the name doesn't sound familiar, but again, these are a lot of people over there on the leftist space, and unless they're a big institution like the individuals, they're all hacks. Anyways, I strongly encourage Joe Biden to take advantage of his absolute immunity, which he has been lawfully granted by Trump's Supreme Court justices, to do whatever official acts he needs to do in order to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president. All right, Bradley P. Moss. The Supreme Court just gave Biden unequivocal immunity to order the military to take action against Trump. Yeah, again, this needs to be an official act. You need to be able to cite sources and, actually prove your intention. Something that kind of like with all of those court cases, you can't really do against Trump, today, right now. And Max Kennerly, to serve his country, President Biden should drone strike Donald Trump. Yo, that's kind of crazy, actually. But not even the most crazy response to this stuff, because you got little Harry Sisson. We talked about him in the reaction to all of the fallout from the debate, and he was one of the rah Biden supporters saying, oh man, Biden 2024, he absolutely smoked for real that Trump pack. Oh, rip bozo, whatever the TikTokers say. According to the Supreme Court, Biden could now send in SEAL Team 6 to take all of them out. What are you doing, Harry? He could send in the military to take he has immunity for official acts now. All those MAGA lunatics are saying that this is a suggestion of violence when the first 5 words are according to the Supreme Court. Also, this is a reference to Justice Sonia Sotomayor's dissent, which included this exactly. Yeah, it's just as equally stupid, and for you to just go ahead and run with that, I mean, there's probably a reason why you're going to end up getting a visit from the Secret Service, and now you're going to be under investigation. This is only the beginning, guys. This is the first of many Supreme Court interventions that we are likely to see between now and November, and brace for impact, because like I said in the debate recap, we are now fully entrenched in the 2024 election cycle, and now all of that craziness that we anticipated in 2024 is definitely been backloaded for the rest of the year. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.